What's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of Becoming the 1% podcast. Today, my esteemed guest is Alain Ngalani. It was an awesome episode. He is the 5-time world champion kickboxing Muay Thai artist. And this is one of the most inspirational episodes I think I've ever done. Truly amazing what this man has accomplished at 47 years of age. You've never seen anything like him. I've never seen anything like him. You are not going to want to miss this. Enjoy the episode. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm happy to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me.
We are thrilled to have you on here.
Great place here.
One time for, if you can believe it, one of the biggest questions we got from our guests about your appearance here was how to pronounce your name. So one time for me, let us hear it. How do you pronounce your name?
Alain Ngalani.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Answers all the questions, because every time my answer to that was, let me just wait, let me just hear it from him, and then we'll get it going from there. But thanks for coming on, man. Seriously, for making the trip, for coming out. It's a real honor.
A pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So the way I like to start these, I like to hear from the guest. I want to hear about you. I want to know, what is your start? Obviously, you have branched into an area of fitness, and you have utilized your social media to really highlight the mobility and the recovery and the flexibility and all that great stuff that we see today. But I want to rewind. I want to kind of go back, and I want you to tell me about you. How did you get your start? How did you find your way into professional fighting? Like, how did all that happen? So please, floor is yours.
You know, it's very funny because a lot of people think that I was born this big child or big kid, you know, who was like already ready to bully anybody, you know. But it's nothing. I mean, it was nothing the sort.
Interesting. Okay.
I was very skinny when I was born. I was fragile, you know. I don't remember if my mom said that I was premature, but here am I today. But one thing that started the whole thing, when I was 4 or 5 years old, I think 5 years old, I was at school and something happened. I was bullied and they took my lunch. I think it was my lunch, and you know I was crying. I was sad and everything. And what was in my mind was to go back home and tell my mom about it, because I thought that my mom will handle. She will come back with me and she will, you know, make sure that settle the score. And I went home and I was all in tears and all devastated. And my mom, she took me aside, and when I explained to her what happened, she told me, she said, "Listen, you have to man up. You have to be able to take care of yourself. You have to stand up for yourself. You need to learn this. You have to defend yourself with all means necessary. Whatever you have. What do you have?" And she asked me, "What do you have?" And I was like, I don't know. She's like, "Well, you have your hand. You have your fingers, you have your nails, you have your teeth. Bite if you need to. Scratch if you have to. You know, scream. You have your voice. Scream as loud as you can and scare anybody that's going to come and take advantage of you." And these are the words of my mom at that time. And when she told me that, I thought nothing of it. I was so sad. I was like, "So you're not going to do anything? You're just going to tell me to go and... So you're not going to do anything?" And she was dead serious. Yeah. And she sent me back to school that afternoon, and I was shitting myself. But you know, I went back to school, and I don't even remember what happened. Nothing happened because we were just kids. So
right.
It just goes into your mind. You know, you just think too much of everything. But we were just kids, and nothing happened. But this word that my mom told me years ago when I was a kid, they never left me, and I think that was the start of it all. You know, I came back home that night, and then the next day, I felt, you know, I was still like, you know, chewing, you know, her word, and I spoke to her, and she said, "Okay, if you want to learn how to defend yourself, if you want to go further, let's go to the gym." And she took me to the gym, and that was the start of it all.
Wow.
Very cool.
That's incredible. The resiliency in that. It's funny how oftentimes as kids we had a similar type of parenting, especially from the style of our father. He was a very figure it out and get over it and get past it, and don't ever let anyone take advantage of you. If ever there's a situation I find out where you started a fight, then I am gonna whoop your ass for that. But if anyone steps to you and tries to challenge you and tries to take advantage of you, you need to be prepared to deal with that yourself.
Exactly. I mean, that's how I was brought up. But I also say that, you know, in terms of parenting, I think that if you're a parent, I think if something happened, you have that reflex of going there to help your child. You know, you have to
Yeah.
go there and sort it out. You know, what happened to you? Who did that to you? Let's go there. You know, I'm gonna go and take care of it. But that wasn't my case. That wasn't our case. That wasn't my mom. My mom wasn't like that.
Yeah.
You know, she was like, you know, you have to learn how to stand up for yourself.
One thing,
You know,
with the tapping.
you have to learn how to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that for you. You have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Resiliency.
resilience.
And at that young age, when that sort of thing starts to happen to you, because I mean, I got into fights. I got bullied. Like, I think all of us at one point in our life had confrontation young and early on. And when you're that age, you're so impressionable. You're so like, what's going to happen next? Especially the first time it happens. Like, I remember the first time where I had a fight with someone who was bigger than me and stronger than me. And we wrestled when we were younger, especially my brother who's not here. He and I both wrestled really, really young. So my father got us into sports, and especially into that kind of contact sport, young in life. But even beyond that, it was still very different from the competition of wrestling on a mat and when there's an actual fight where someone maybe picks up an object or is bigger than you. You know, who cares if you could wrestle in your weight class? If there's a kid who's 2 or 3 years older than you that challenges you, what are you going to do? And when you have that, I had a similar experience where I remember I told my dad what happened. And I remember he just asked me, he's like, okay, well, what did you do? And my reaction was similar to yours. I was like, what did I do? What are you going to do? And he's like, well, you know, I'm not really going to do anything. What did you do about it? And I think that is such a undertaught lesson, especially today.
Yeah.
You see a lot of times parents dealing with the problems their kids get into, or even worse, the problems their kids cause.
I think they take the matter into their own hand and they make it worse. You know, they make it worse for their child. They make it worse because it's not just about that moment. It's about the future. What do you want to teach your child? You see what I mean? So I think it's very important to see it that way. I think they overreact. They see the problem right there. They want to go and take the matter into their own hands, but that's not how it's supposed to be. You have to teach your child, you know, how to handle things, you know, going forward, right? So,
Yep. Yeah. So now your mom's gotten you into the gym. How did that transition from the gym into fighting?
Yeah, I think I got to the gym and I fell in love with, you know, with training and with everything that you could do in the gym. I think I learned very quickly that what I was capable of. You know, I just discovered things that I could do, and it just couldn't stop. You know, I just couldn't stop, and it just kept coming. I started with judo. And
what age were you when you started?
I was 5 when I started judo.
Wow. Okay. Oh, well, that's younger than I thought.
So the
Wow.
first martial art that I learned was judo.
Okay.
And while I was doing judo, I was you know, really flexible. I was really athletic. I think the first year, every kids that were in the class were bullying me because I was the youngest. I think I was the youngest when we started. Everyone was bullying me. And the second year, I took over. And the championship, I remember, because I took over. I literally took over, and I was just cruising into championship. I was winning everything, and whether it's my age group or older than me, I was taking everyone down. I remember once we were doing the championship, and we got to the final, and no, we were doing elimination, and you have to score a certain number of points, right, to go further. And I already had, you know, like really earlier, I had already all the points to pass. So I was sorted already. And I remember the fight that I was doing next, my opponent came to me. He was one of the kids that used to bully me when I first started. And he's older than me. And he came to me, and he was like really stressed. And he came with his family, and he was like, I'm sorry, man, but you already going through, so you already have like enough point to go through, and now we're having this fight and I don't have enough point. Do you think you could maybe like take it easy on me? So we can... and that, you know, for me, my first reaction was, wow, I'm there. You see what I mean? I can't believe this. This kid was bullying me when I first started.
Yeah.
And he's older than me. He's in rank. He's higher than me. And now he's talking to me with respect. And I couldn't dig that enough. You know. So yeah, it was
not just with respect. He's making a request, he's making a very humble request. That's a very humiliating thing to go up to your opponent and ask him, hey, can you take it easy on me, please?
He's now in politics.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say what happened, but I was there with my brother, James, who always been with me in my corner everywhere, or every step of the way.
Yeah.
I was there with my brother, and I remember my brother telling me it was not gonna happen that way. Whether you have, already all the point, you don't let anyone pass you. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm of the opinion
Yeah.
that would have probably been what I would have said too. I'd be like, that is not how this works.
That's
This
not how
is
it's
not
gonna
a
happen.
because that's the kind of mentality that a parent who intervened and went and fixed all of his problems creates.
Yeah.
This individual is, hey, can you please take it easy on me? You have enough points, please. That's not a resilient attitude. You're in a combat sport
Yeah.
too. That's not right. That's so I love that. Tell me about your coaching. You mentioned that you had your brother. Was it your literal brother? Your biological.
My older brother.
Your older brother.
Biological brother. Yeah.
Oh, so he was your coach.
Yeah.
In judo when you were younger.
He was not directly my coach because he was also young. He was just like 2 years older than me.
Oh, okay.
And but we were training together, and he's always been, he was always been ahead of me, and I was always looking, up to him. So at that point, I was looking up to him, and he was always with me. So we had quite a strong bond, growing up.
Yeah.
And
Did he fight professionally?
He fought professionally. Growing up, we fought, amateur. We fought, at the school level. We fought regional. We fought national. Then we fought international. Wow. So he won amateur championship. Then I won. So we were always winning together. So and growing and evolving together.
That's
then
great.
we won at the college level, at the regional level, then at national and international level, because he won the African championship. Then I won. Then he won 4 times, and I won 4 times.
Wow.
And at once, I remember once.
Where was this? Location wise, where did all this competition happen?
In Africa, in Ivory Coast, or in Cameroon.
Oh, okay, very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And is that where you're originally from?
I was born in Cameroon.
Very cool. Awesome. Is combat sport very popular in that region?
Very popular.
Very popular.
Yeah. Despite what people might think, it's very popular. You have to think that you grew up in tough neighborhood, and if it's either that, or simply because people are looking at something to do, something to keep their mind, something to keep themselves, and it's martial arts.
Especially young.
Yeah.
At a young age, if you're not doing that.
It's going to be either soccer or martial arts.
Yeah. Who were some of the fighters that you looked up to at that time?
Great question.
I think I think we all remember Bruce Lee. We all remember Jean-Claude Van Damme. We all so that has influenced our life. All of us. I think I can speak to all of us.
Which of those individuals, forgive my ignorance, did either of them specialize in judo?
Actually, no.
No. Who would we know that
Bruce
would be
Lee, not Jean-Claude Van Damme, although Bruce Lee was more spread, so he crossed all the martial art platform. But when I started judo, it wasn't because of someone that influenced me or whatever. I just my mom just took me to the club, and what they had there was judo.
Got it.
So so it was the first martial art that I just thrown into. So I started with judo, and then very quickly I was while we were doing judo, I knew, because I was really active and I was really flexible. And when I was looking at my brother training, my brother was doing karate, and when I was looking at him training, I wanted to do what he was doing, because they were kicking stuff and they were doing sparring, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. I'm here doing judo and hugging people and training people on the mat. I want to take it further. I want to kick people also.
Yeah.
So one day I came to just watch my brother doing his competition. They were having like a competition, and in my brother's team, one team member was ill, and so they needed a replacement. And funny enough, I was there, and then they asked me to join the team. And I never did karate before.
Sure.
Yeah, but guess what? I just stopped. I stepped in there, and I won the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, I won the whole thing.
Wow. Never having thrown a single strike.
I was
or
just
anything.
I was just watching them training. I was always watching them training, because I had to wait for my brother to finish his training before we go home. So I was always sitting there watching them training. And while they were training, I could see what they were doing, and I could do the same thing. I would stay outside and I would practice the kick. I would try and kick in the air. I would do it on my own. And, once in a while, at home, actually, most of the time at home, I'll throw down with my brother,
Yeah, of course.
We do that.
Yeah.
Right? So, I'm sure you guys know.
Oh,
what I'm
yeah.
talking about,
Yeah.
So I threw down with my brother at home, and it was quite competitive. So, yeah.
That's outstanding. The crossover from judo to karate, are there similarities between the two? Is there a different, obviously I'm sure there's a different scoring method between the two. Is what are the highlight differences or similarities?
Different.
Totally
It's
different.
again, like the whole thing that I mean, it's martial art, right? But it's totally different. Judo, you throw down, you grab the person, you wear like this, white uniform, this gi, and you have to throw the person down, immobilize the person. That's how you score a point. You score a point by doing like a throwdown, like maybe iponso nage or otoshigeri or something like that, where you grab the person and you bring the person down.
Yeah.
But in karate, it was Shotokan karate, where you have to hit the person, without
To
hurting the
strike
person.
and
You have
score a
to stop,
point.
Yeah, to score a point.
Right.
Which is completely different, right? Kicking and punching was not what I was doing in judo.
Sure.
So it's completely different. But
Sure.
I just got there, and just by watching them training from time to time, I had I knew a bit what was going on.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
So from there, did you take on even another practice, another tenet of martial
From
arts? So what
there-
happened after that?
From there, that was it. From there, I knew what I wanted. I knew that I wanted more contact. I knew that I was I love the contact sport. And so from karate, I went to do kickboxing. French boxing first. French boxing, savate. Then kickboxing. Yeah.
So you have how many? First off, what is your highest? Are you a black belt? Do you
Black
have what?
belt in karate, black belt in karate Shotokan, black belt in karate Koshiki, black belt in karate Kyokushin. So in 3 style of karate, I'm black belt.
You're a black belt in
Yeah.
3 style of karate. Okay, well that's unbelievable. Truly, I mean, how many people do we
crazy.
even know that have ever had even one?
Yeah, seriously.
That's great, brother. Congrats.
Thanks.
How does that then? At what point do you transition to professional fighting, where it's actually and where did you professionally fight? What because now with the not the UFC, where did you professionally fight?
No, now I'm in one championship in Asia.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, one championship.
nice.
With it's a bit like UFC. I mean, it's the same thing. They're competitor, one championship, and UFC are
Yeah.
competitor. So I'm in one championship and I'm having fun. So say that I was African champion, then I wanted to be world champion, and I traveled the world. I went to Europe, I went to Asia, and I was willing to throw down with anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
the first time I
imagine.
went to Thailand, I wanted to be world champion in Muay Thai. I went to Thailand and I went to the stadium. I watched the fight. Then I went to the promoter and I said, "Listen, I'm here. I just arrived here. My name is Alain Ngalani, and I'm telling you, I will beat anybody you put in front of me. I want to
That's
be world
awesome.
champion, and I will be world champion." I think they looked at me and they started laughing.
Sure.
Yeah, they're like, "This guy's, are you serious? This guy is crazy. Why
Right,
would you
yeah.
beat anybody? Who are you? What do you think?" And I was serious. And because I insisted and I insisted, the guy took me to the gym, and then they asked me to train there, and I trained there for like I think 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and they gave me a fight, a ridiculous fight, but a fight. The fight ended up in maybe like I had the fastest knockout record that time. Maybe it was 4 or 5 seconds.
Really?
Yeah, it was over. I was hungry. I was about to, I was hungry.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Yeah, I was hungry. I wanted it. I wanted it really bad. So
Yeah.
it's all, like how you want it. So I think if you want it, hard enough, you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got this. You've gotten to the point now where you're, African champion, world champion. What happens next? Do you has this transition toward more? Now I see more stuff of you training in the gym, showing your mobility. Your programming is based on that. How does that transition happen? Do you
Yeah.
are you still fighting? Is that still something you're currently doing?
I'm still fighting. I'm
Still
still
fighting.
fighting. Not because I need to, but because I'm just enjoying myself.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just
Well,
enjoying myself.
you love it.
And when I'm not fighting, I'm missing it. So I just keep training and I keep training, and then I feel like, why am I stopping, right? So I can still throw down. I can take down anybody. People half my age. I'm good at what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. So I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? As long as I'm feeling good, as long as I'm enjoying myself, I keep doing me. So
Yeah.
I'm just doing me. I'm just enjoying myself.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in this for the long run. I'm in a sport for the long run, and I just want to have fun, enjoy myself, and do what I always wanted to do. You know, this is what I always wanted to do. I'm really grateful to be able to live my life, earn my living, and achieve everything that I've achieved and that I've
Yeah.
accomplished. You know, doing something that I love, something that I'm passionate
Amen.
about. You know, so exactly.
Very
So-
cool.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I'm just living my dream every day, and all the things that you see me doing, you know, in the gym or at home,
Yeah.
or all the stuff that you see me doing, that's just me doing me. I'm just exploring myself. I'm just, keep searching, keep looking, keep trying, and I see that the human body is amazing.
Uh-huh.
The human
Oh, it
body
is.
is capable of so much. You will not believe what you're capable of doing. So when people throw at me a thing like, oh, he's doing the split because he's probably taking drugs. He's doing, he can kick that fast because he's probably taking drugs.
on
or
steroids.
He's on
He's-
steroids.
yeah, of
because,
course, yeah.
You know, because people don't know what they're talking about. People are in a rush. People want it now. They want it fast. But it's not about that. And I think that we can achieve so much. We can do so much, and we have to believe that we can do it. The human body is amazing.
Yes.
We are capable of so much. We don't need to take steroid. Before, I think that people were achieving a lot before even steroid existed. I'm talking about my grandparents.
Sure.
And me growing up, I didn't even know what steroid mean. I had no clue what you're talking about. We grew up in Africa. We weren't close to steroid. We have no reach. There wasn't social media. We have
Yeah.
you never heard of. I never heard of steroid until I
Sure.
was like, in my 20s or whatever, that I heard it. Actually, I never heard of steroid until they accused me of taking steroid when I won the world championship for the first time, and I was already in my 20s. So yeah.
Okay, so how did that come about? I mean, so you won, and then what? Someone on social media claimed you did it, or was it an actual like the federation claimed that you
this
did?
guy won. He is so jacked. He's so big. He's so fast. It's impossible to be like that. You can't have
Ridiculous,
that.
yeah.
You can have that build, naturally. That's what they say. And then that's how I heard that I was taking steroid. That was the first time. It was just on the news after I won the first time, world championship, and I was exposed to the media, and that's how it started. And yeah, and that's how I learned about steroid. But
How did you learn? Because one of the areas that I'm most fascinated with about what it is that you're doing, and I'm speaking through the lens of what I see you post on social media and the presence that you bring. Being who I am and what I like to study and what I like to implement here, the sports science side of what you're doing is very advanced. And oftentimes I find that, especially with high-level athletes, being a high-level athlete does not necessarily equate to the knowledge on how to train like a high-level athlete, because so oftentimes athletes have trainers that train them. You are the exception to that. How has sports science... How have you educated yourself on the training, the mobility, the flexibility? All of that stuff is all a big part of your equation and a big part of why you look the way you look. Where did you find the passion or the time or the interest in training and sports science and the human body as a whole outside of just fighting?
Yeah. First of all, I study sports science, right? My parents wanted me to be a doctor. That was their
cool.
dream. Yeah, they wanted me to be a doctor. And the deal was, if I keep studying and I do what they want me to do, they'll keep financing and paying for my study and paying for my training and help me to achieve that, and keep me going in my sport and whatever. So that was the deal.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to stick to sports. No, actually speak to sport medicine, or actually medicine.
Yeah.
And be a doctor. When I later on stage.
What did they say when you said you were going to be a fighter?
I was fighting the whole time. I was competing. I was evolving into the martial arts and into competing, but I was only doing that because they were supporting me. When I got to university, and I realized I started doing like part-time job to finance my study, I realized that actually, halfway through, I thought actually, I'm paying for myself here, so I can actually decide to do what I want to do.
Yeah,
because you're not paying for me anymore. It was you paying for, but you're not paying for me anymore. So I'm supporting myself. So why am I still doing this? I actually don't like it. I want to do, I want to do sport. I want to be world champion. I want to have like a center, and I want to be able to educate people and do what I love to do.
Yeah.
So I switched to sports science, and I just did a quick course in sports science, and I switched and traveled the world and became a world champion.
Cool.
Opened a center, and I'm always reading, I'm always, researching, and I'm always like trying to, to learn about a lot of the things that I do is not I'm not, looking it up to what science say or what is out there. I'm looking at myself, what I can do, what my body can do.
Heck yeah.
And that's what I'm teaching people. That's what I'm teaching people in my center, and that's what I'm promoting. I'm saying that it's not about what they say. They say, for instance, you have to take steroid if you want to get to this level. I say no. Me, I don't take steroid. I'm doing this and that, and I achieve this.
Right.
They say you have to take anti-inflammatory. You have to do that. You have to do this. You have to take all these chemical. If you hurt yourself, or if you feel like after a fight, if you feel you feel that your limbs are swollen, you have to take this chemical plus that chemical plus this chemical. But for me, when I finish the fight, I use heat, I use ice therapy,
Cold,
I
use contrast therapy. That's awesome.
And I rest, and I'm always promoting things that work for me. I think it works for me. Right?
Amen.
They say, "Oh, you're not able to sleep. Why don't you take these pills plus that one plus this one, and that will help you to sleep?" And I say, if I go for a run, if I do a 5 mile, and I do a certain amount of push-up of burpee, I'll be so tired that I'm gonna
Sleep like a baby.
Like a baby.
Yeah.
And it works for me. And that's what I'm promoting, at the end.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm promoting. I'm saying that your lifestyle you should just develop healthy habit and have a correct lifestyle. I'm not saying that you have to stop having fun or stop partying. I think that you have to just find a middle ground, have a correct lifestyle, and develop healthy habit, and you can achieve much more.
I love. Sorry, go ahead, bud.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, you talked a little bit about your post-fight plan, what you do after the fight. Is there any pre-fight ritual that you go through?
Yeah. Same thing. I'm not into conventional. I'm all about how I feel about myself. For instance, they say that you're not allowed to, you shouldn't have sex before the fight.
Is that still believed?
That you shouldn't have sex before the fight.
Yeah.
Actually, most of the fight that I won, most of the knockout that I did, I had sex before the fight.
Yeah.
And when they say that, and I'm saying that that's me, you know.
And that's just for testosterone levels?
Yeah,
Okay.
Which is kind of backwards, because when you have sex, you have a spike
boost your-
in your
yeah,
testosterone,
you boost
during
testosterone.
sex.
Yeah.
But the thought mentality was, if you have this crazy surge in all the chemical release that happens during orgasm, and then drop and then go to fight, well, you're not going to experience that same spike 2 times in a row.
Okay.
It's been pretty debunked. It's not really something a lot of.
It's always been there, and
Yeah,
growing
but
up,
for a
I
long
remember
time,
our
people
trainer
thought-
always like making it point, do not. I'm saying, actually, most of the fight that I won, I had sex before the fight.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, most of the fight that I lost, I didn't have sex.
Just to make it even worse, I didn't have sex and I lost. What would you, to that point, there's an interesting question. What would you say is the difference? And what exactly do you take away from fights that you win versus fights that you lost? I presume you have lost fights before.
I've lost a lot of fights.
A lot of fights.
And I think that when I still think about it, I think that some of the fight that I lost, I wasn't in there. There's a lot of things that I could have done different. I wasn't mentally in there 100% myself. I think that I made a lot of mistake, and we're human, right? So we make mistake. We overthink things, and sometimes we don't listen. We don't do things. We don't react the way we're supposed to react. And what we can do is just learn from those mistakes, right? So go back and learn. And that's why the good thing is that we can age and learn from our mistake and do better.
Yeah.
That's why, with age, you have experience, right? So now, at this age, I have much more experience.
How old are you?
Yeah, 47 now.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
47. Unbelievable. And I can't believe it myself.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't believe it myself. When I was younger, when I was in my 20s, and when I was doing this on my 20s, I realized that now, like, there are things that I couldn't do in my 20s that I can do now. And
You
that's what
are
I'm saying.
a walking example of reverse aging.
Exactly. So and
Give me an example. What is something you did not do in your 20s or your 30s, for that matter, that you're doing now in your 40s, and now you can do these things?
I think that I run faster now than when I was in my 20s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that I do like a lot more thing, like for even lifting.
Yeah.
And even my flexibility. I think that I'm much more flexible now than I was when I was 20.
I can't imagine anybody being more
So-
flexible than how flexible you are now. You've seen his stuff on his page, right? Some of the mobility drills and things that you implement.
I'm still on the fact that he said he's 47.
Yeah,
that is shocking to me.
That's
Seriously.
crazy, brother. Seriously,
Yeah.
that's insane. I've never seen any. I mean, I had a background training NFL guys, so the average age of those individuals, 25 to 35, somewhere in there, and those guys could manage to look like you. Maybe not do the things you do, but they could look like you. But that doesn't happen past 40. It doesn't happen. But for the smallest fraction of a percent of high-level athletes that continue, and I think, if I can speak for you here a little bit, you have continued your training as consistently or more than you're fighting as you've gotten older.
Exactly.
I mean, that has to be.
Exactly.
You couldn't do it if you didn't.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's amazing.
And I want to add that creating habit, like doing things, you're just creating habit.
Yes.
No, actually, before that, people told me, like years back, I read that Alain Ngalani, you cannot be the way you are if you're not taking steroid. You probably full of steroid, and I can tell you, everybody that's taking steroid like you, people that look like you, they're all dropping in their 40s.
Yeah, they
They're
die.
all
Yeah.
dropping. They're all dead at 40. So you probably, and I heard that when I remember I was 37 when I heard that stuff. and I just thought, shit. I just thought, God, don't let me die when I'm 40, because then you're gonna
say I had steroids.
They're gonna think that they were right. They're gonna think, so
You're
please,
right. Yeah.
don't let me die when I'm 40, because they're gonna think that they were right. This asshole, they're gonna think that they're right. You see what I mean? So that's not fair, because and I just kept doing me. And
Yeah.
this is my age. I'm 47 now,
That's-
and I couldn't be healthier. I'm not boasting, but I'm saying that I'm very happy to be in good health and to be the way I am, and to be natural. And I say it again, I'm someone who takes his health really seriously.
Yeah.
I'm not alcoholic, and I don't, fool around alcohol. I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I don't none of that. But
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that you have to be like me, or you have to not drink and not do that to achieve anything in sport. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's me.
Yeah.
That's just me. That's just my preference, right? I don't like alcohol. I don't enjoy it.
Yeah,
So
same, yeah.
I don't enjoy being drunk. I don't enjoy smoking. I don't enjoy it, and that's me. And I'm not saying that it's something that everyone has to do to be able to be a high level athlete or to be able to be successful. No, that's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that, and I'm not taking steroid. I'm not saying that people don't have to take steroid to be whatever. I'm just saying that it's my personal preference.
Yeah.
I'm someone who is healthy and who think of his health, and I'm someone who think that he can achieve much more being and doing the way I'm doing, and it's working for me. So if you think that, looking at me, if you think that, you want to do like me, then feel free to do like me. And otherwise,
What is your diet like? What do you eat?
Yeah, and again, people will get it wrong. People will think that, looking at me, I'm eating maybe enormous amount of food. I'm eating this much time a day and whatever. But to be honest, I eat whatever I want to eat. I could wake up in the middle of the night and have Nutella, and I'm not gonna lie. I could treat myself to. I love chocolate. I love Nutella. So I will Nutella. Yeah, I could have it in the middle of the night and whatever, and anytime. But I'm saying that, with anything that I have, that I'm doing, I do a lot of fasting. For instance, I do a lot of intermittent fasting.
Interesting.
With all the training that I'm doing, I'm training a lot of hours a day, right? But
How many hours in a day do you train?
I could train 3 to 5 hours a day.
3 to 5 hours
Yeah,
a day.
3 to 5 hours a day.
And in that training,
Sometimes more, sometimes less. Yeah.
obviously that's not all heavy lifting.
No.
When you categorize training, you're
When I categorize
talking
training, I'm talking about when I'm doing
Flexibility.
cardio, I'm doing I could do cardio, I could do flexibility. Yes, flexibility
Yeah.
is included. Yeah. So
Yeah, in some kind of long, slow distance cardio or high intensity interval cardio,
Yeah.
some type of
sprint,
weight training.
Like we're doing a lot of sprint. I like to do sprint. I like to do
Yeah.
high intensity. I always like to do high intensity. When I do weight training, even when I'm doing weight training, I rather do high intensity where I'm doing high reps.
Yeah.
And so I'm always looking for high reps. Yeah.
Do you split up your training based on a certain goal per day? I'm specifically speaking of weight training. Do you categorize your weight training based on body parts? Do you go into each one with kind of a whole body approach? Do you do calisthenics? Like what is your weight training look like?
I do a lot of calisthenics, but when I'm doing weight training, I don't categorize. I don't split upper body and lower.
You don't split upper body. It's shocking to me how many people are doing it that way now. A lot of people are doing just full body training 7 days a week, I presume. Do you train 7 days a week?
Yes.
And this is a really good example. I wanted to touch on this point earlier and we didn't get to it, but this is a good time to do it now. You're doing it in a way that you have proven works for you.
It works for me.
And here is where oftentimes I think, especially the sports science community, butts up against individual progress from someone like yourself who, obviously there's a whole group of people that would say they're on steroids, but let's ignore them because they may or may not know what they're talking about. You are you and you're not doing steroids. So, but from the sports science community, even people who would believe you, they would object to some kind of, to some of those types of training methodologies because to them, what has been peer-reviewed and what has been proven over months and years is to split up your training based on the number of days per week that you're training, the body parts you're trying to hit, and the goals you're trying to reach. I guess I'm trying to sort of dissect a question out of this, but how has your training reflected your results? Has that full body training been something you've done throughout your entire career as an athlete? It's always been that way? Or have you ever experimented with other types of training?
No, it's always been that way. And the reason why I didn't change is because it works for me. I feel good. And I think it speaks for itself. Right?
Yeah, I think it does too. That's, again, it is truly astounding. What you've been able to accomplish inside of your career as a fighter is astounding. But what you and what I find to be much more impressive because of my background is what you've achieved on yourself at your age with what you're doing and just the life you're able to live at 47.
Yeah.
People don't do that. I don't know anyone else in my entire life. Like I said, I know 25, 27-year-old NFL athletes that look like you. I don't know anyone ever that is at 47 and looks and does the things that you are doing.
Yeah.
Your training methodology is incredible.
Very cool.
And how you've been able to maintain this is just truly astounding, brother. So congrats on that.
Thank you, Brandon. And I want to emphasize on that. I want to say that my health, is paramount to me. It's very important. And I think winning all the world championship that I won doesn't come close to what I'm living now. So the way I'm enjoying myself and I'm enjoying my body and how I develop myself and the fact that I'm really I'm physically up to it or apt. I could I love the fact that I could just get up in the morning and I could take a sprint. I love the fact that I could just turn around and just sprint my way or do a jump and duck or that I could do. I don't take that for granted. You have to be able to appreciate that what you have, because I've seen people who are sick, I've seen people who are unable, and you don't want that, right? So you have to be grateful, and I'm truly grateful that I'm here and that I'm managing myself this way. I think this is like more than winning. All my world championship together don't come close to
being healthy and being not just healthy, being exceptional at your age compared to anyone our age. I sincerely can tell you, I don't know anybody in anywhere that is doing the things you're doing at any age.
Thank you.
And go ahead, bud.
I did have one question. I am curious because a lot of the audience watching this, if you could go back, and you've got a tremendous amount of experience, you got the 3 black belts, all of that. If you could go back to that 5-year-old boy and you could build the perfect fighter, starting with what discipline and what disciplines would you put into that in order to build that up into, based on all your experience, someone that would be like at the top level of fighting today? How would you build that fighter out?
I think that's a good question. I think that being versatile is very important. I think it's good to be open-minded. I think it's good to explore. I think it's good to learn from everywhere, from everyone, and to pick for here and there and here and there. I think that throughout my life, I'm very respectful, and I never stop learning. I
Heck
think
yeah.
that I'm the best student that anyone could have because I never stop learning. I learn from everyone. I learn from you guys here, what you guys doing, how you guys, whatever you guys saying or whatever you guys doing. I learn from that. I look at Brandon's place and I check out what I could get from what he has, and I just keep learning. You see what I mean? So I'm a student for life, right?
Yeah.
So I keep learning and I don't stop learning. So I learn, seeing people doing ballet. I watch ballet.
Oh, yeah.
And I learn the way they move, the way their agility and so on. And I was just saying a few days ago, I was saying that I want to be as agile and as beautiful as a ballerina and as strong as a power lifter. And I stand by that.
Yep.
I stand by that. And I'm a student for life. I keep learning. When I was a kid, I started with judo. Then I didn't stop. I switched here and there. I switched martial art, and I had so many masters. And all these masters, I'm very respectful. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to all of them and for what I've learned and all the knowledge that I could gather, during all my upbringing.
Yeah.
And I think that picking here and there has made the person that I am today. I learn every time. I learn everywhere. I'm watching people. If you're dancing, I'm watching your move. If you whatever you're doing, I'm watching and I'm learning. So anything, it could be important.
Especially if it's outside of the scope of what you like to do.
Exactly.
That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
That's why I love this sort of an interaction and this kind of a environment. If I could encourage you to do something, I would make a podcast, start doing something like this, because I got to tell you, bro, the people that we've had in here, in and outside of fitness, I'm like you. I love learning. My favorite thing in the world is getting people across to me who I know nothing about what they're doing. They're bringing something entirely new to the table for me, because I like to be a student of life. I mean, what are we doing here if not to learn?
I'm not ashamed of learning. So exactly.
It's great, and it's why you've gotten to the point you're at, and why you continue to, and your training and the ability to learn. I think both should be styled around longevity.
Yeah.
If you can't train in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and if you don't have the thought processes to want to keep learning along that road as well, then you're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
You got to change that.
Yeah. So you know what? When I go, I enjoy this, and when I go back home and I go and see my mom, when I spend time with my mom, we get down and we do some training together. And my mom is she's gonna be 70. And we train together. We do push-up. I like to do push-up challenge together. I like to do like the split challenge, for instance, because we're doing flexibility challenge together. We're doing backflip. We're doing a reverse push-up. Reverse push-up is doing push-up while you're on the back flip.
Yeah.
So you're doing push-up that way. My mommy throw it down and she challenged me, and I love that I could spend time with my mom and still bond that way. It's amazing. It's priceless.
That is it. Oh no, that's almost a reverse push-up, right? What you're doing on the screen.
Push-up, you have to go all the way down and then do the push-up that way, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my mom does that. So if my mom do that,
that's incredible.
I have no excuse.
Wonderful.
You see what I mean? So she's almost 70, and if she does that, I have no excuse.
She can still do that at 70.
Still do that.
That is one area where if someone were to actually analyze you and what I presume your brother looks like, and obviously what your mom can still do, you have a very strong genetic component.
Yeah, but I also think that it would be easy to just throw it down to genetic and forget the hard work that the person is doing. You see what I mean?
Definitely.
It would be too easy. I think that everyone else who says, "Oh, if you're not taking steroid, then you're just a genetic freak." And I say, "But what about my hard work? What about the hours that I put every day? It's forgotten."
I would say
I don't want that to be forgotten. You see what I mean? Because I pay my due every day. I do the hard work. I make sure to work on my flexibility. If I'm reading or if I'm watching TV, I'm taking a position that helps me to stretch. So everywhere I go, however I behave myself, I'm always, putting on work.
Yeah.
So I could take a Uber now, going back, and I'll sit on the back and I cross my leg like this, and I'll take a position that help me while he's driving. I'm stretching. So these are instead of I could just sit down and do nothing.
Yeah.
Instead of that, I'm stretching. I put both my hands behind and I lean on my hands and stretching this way. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for no reason, I'll do that. And anyway, I'll do that. And I was saying earlier, a few days ago, that I was taking my shower and I realized that I'm using my right hands to scratch my back, or my left hand to scratch my back. And by using my left hands all the time to scratch my back, I realized that my right hand is has less flexibility or less mobility. My right shoulder.
Of course.
So I started doing both now. So I'm doing half here and half there. So these are things. So maybe when you take your shower, you're gonna take a towel and you're gonna do this to scratch your back, right? So you're not forcing, you're not opening your shoulder and working on that mobility. If you use instead of doing that, if you take a small towel and you put your hand behind and you try to scratch your back, you're going to see that it's really hard because you need to have a shoulder mobility.
Yeah.
So these are things that I do, regularly.
Yeah.
That I do every day.
Yeah.
And that works for me because then it makes me really mobile and flexible, right?
I think the dedication piece of the equation that creates a person like you is also something that you've been gifted with, something that lives inside of your mind that, I always believed, and this is how we were raised. I always, for a very long time, thought that from a mental standpoint, the world was an even playing field, that everyone could have the same opportunity to build themselves up and get themselves to a level like you. But the longer I live, and please feel free to critique this if you disagree with me, the longer I live, the more that I've come to think, just like a person like yourself has a genetic piece that not everyone has physically, you also have a genetic piece mentally that others may not have. There are people that are not as mentally tough as you. There are people that do not have the willpower to take every minute of every day, whether they're taking a shower or sitting watching TV, to have the thought process of, okay, let me sit down and let me make sure that I'm using this time beyond just sitting there and doing nothing. I'm going to physically be doing something to better myself. There are people that don't think that way and don't have that piece and don't have that gift, because I see that as a gift. I don't think human beings are equal really on just about anything. I think everybody is different. People have gifts, people have weaknesses and strengths. I don't believe people are all as mentally gifted as you are.
So the question is that learned, or is that in you from the beginning? Like, is that something that you learn over time, or is that something that was with you, from the beginning?
Is it nature or is it nurture?
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a philosophical question. It spans well beyond just mental fortitude.
Like when you started talking, I wanted to say that I disagree with you, but as you go, I'm thinking you might be right. Yes, no,
and I started out always thinking that way. I started out always believing that no, all human beings were equal. We're all born, we're all here, we all have the same mental capacity. But the more I've lived and the more people I've talked to, the more I've realized that while I can only compare it to myself because my mind is my own, I know how I think, and I now know how you think because of how you've expressed that to me. People don't think that way. People really struggle with their thoughts. They struggle with their emotions. They aren't mentally tough. They are not mentally strong. They're weak. And they spend a lot of times their whole lives trying to fix that problem, and a lot of them never do. And that, I think, again, I don't necessarily think genetic fits the term right, but it is a gift. I think mental fortitude is a gift that you have that not everyone has. Just like your anatomy, your anatomical body that, yes, you've worked extremely hard for and you've been consistent with, but that's a gift that you were given that not everyone else has.
Yeah.
And that's, again, please.
Yeah, no, I'll say that yes, and it's a gift, and I say that I think I nurture it. I think that I want to say that I nurture it. I want to say that I you're born and you're not sure, so all my siblings and I, we're not exactly the same, and for me, I think I nurture it. I think that when I look at going back in my life, when I look at pieces like me doing 100 push-up before I go to sleep, or me doing 100 push-up as soon as I'm off my bed, the first thing that I do is to drop on the ground and I hit my push-up. And I was doing that every day, and that mental mindset that I had, no one taught me that, no one asked me to do that. I was just like, I have to do this. So
Yeah.
before I brush my teeth, the first thing I have to do before I brush my teeth, my mom say, when you wake up, the first thing that you do is to brush your teeth. I say, the first thing that I do is do my push-up. Then I brush my teeth. You see, so I changed it that way. And so that mindset that I had, I think I just nurture it, growing up, I just nurture it.
Yeah.
And now I want to say that we are all capable of nurturing such mindset. I want to say it like that we are all capable of nurturing mindset. If I was here with you guys, if we were growing up together, I would say, Brandon, come on, let's do our push-up. Let's try and do, 200 push-up a day, or let's try and do, whatever, this amount. Let's do and do pull-up. Let's put a pull-up bar and let's hit our pull-up every day.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So this was my mindset. I was always like trying to, let's be active. Let's do something. Let's do a little bit more. Oh, you can do the split like this. Okay. I'll go, and tomorrow I'll try and do more than you, and so on. So this is a challenging each other and pushing each other and motivating each other is something that I think is very important. I think that firing each other, motivating each other. I think that being with people like-minded, being with people that are motivated, being with people that are hardworking. I think that this is also very important. I think that if you are in an environment where you have people who are driven, where you have people who are motivated,
Huge.
people who are that
Absolutely
impact you, and that brings you to be just as an animal as them.
That's wise.
Yeah.
And if you are someone who maybe you recognize a flaw in yourself, where you say, you know what, I'm really not as self-motivated as I wish I was. I wish I was a bit more self-motivated. Find yourself somebody else who is. Find yourself somebody and surround yourself with people that are trying to better themselves, and by association, they're trying to better you.
That's awesome, because I have people always telling me the same thing and saying that I was motivated, but I lost it a couple of days, after I started.
Yeah.
What should I do? What should I do?
Yeah.
And I say, and I always say that, my attitude as an athlete, I say that you get better by being in an environment with a bunch of savages, people with the don't give a fuck attitude, who bring out the beast in you. You will be so challenged that you will never feel like you have improved. I never feel like I improved. I feel like I'm always behind, and I feel like I have to work harder every time. Seriously, I feel like I have to work harder every time. And that attitude of not feeling like I'm there already.
Yeah.
That attitude, like feeling like I need some more. I don't think I'm there. I don't think I'm there. That attitude makes me work more, every time.
Yeah.
And I think you want elite people around you, so that you have to hold yourself up to the standard of the technique and ability. And that's the only way you get better.
Oh,
Amen.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who you surround yourself with,
Yeah.
and what their goals are.
Yeah.
You want to find people whose goals, they may not be directly correlated to yours, but they need to mirror them. They need to be similar. And I, like you, I have the same type of mindset. I mean, for me, I don't ever see a finish line. That's why when people tell me, I want to get to be whatever, 55, 65, and then I want to retire, I'm like, that sounds horrible to me. Yeah. To me, everything I go for, it's never really finished. Everything is still, the finish line is still out there. And I think that's the way you live your whole healthy life. I mean, the finish line is when we finish, when we die.
That's it.
That's it.
Yes, my brother.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do with the time while we're here?
I love that. That's the mindset. The finish line is when we are done. So when we are not here anymore, we're no longer here. That's the finish line. I'm not done. People say, when I was in my 20s, I thought that when I'm going to be 35, it will be the end of my, I will not want to compete again. That's it. I'm done. And you know why? Because society say that you should retire at this age, and society say that if you're a fighter, when you reach 30, 32, 34, it's already the end of you, and society has defined it. So then you take it and you think, okay, so then when I'm dead, and that's it, it's over. I have friends who were in their 20s, they already retired. Their body couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So If you cannot, then I understand, because you cannot. Your body cannot carry you anymore. Your body cannot. You're injured. You
got hurt,
You're completely
yeah.
bashed, right? But if you can, why will you stop for less?
Yeah.
Why? Why will you stop? So I'm saying, like, such a pity. I have, such a capability. I'm so capable.
Yeah.
I have what I have, and I'm capable of so much, and then I have to stop just because society say that, you're in your 40s and you should stop. Or that my girlfriend said that I'm such an idiot already. I should stop before I get worse. So I mean, I'm an idiot already. I should stop before it get worse. Before I get bashed and I get even worse. I say, just do you. Enjoy yourself. Have fun.
Yeah.
And if you take care of yourself and you think that you can go further, go further.
Yeah.
If you want to, explore. If you want to come out of your comfort zone and do activity that are completely different, things that you never done before, things that are, out of your comfort zone, challenge yourself, learn about yourself every day, and keep pushing. That's what I'm going to say.
Use what your experience has taught you to teach others.
Yeah.
And that is one bit of encouragement that I would say to you, brother, is what you're doing is impacting so many more people than you realize that it is. And for people like yourself who have, you've cracked the code on so much of life's challenging, I mean, health and fitness, especially for people who watch your page, you don't know the impact it's having to them. And I'll go even a step further.
I like that because, Joe Rogan, who messaged me a few years ago. And
did he really?
He messaged me a few years ago and he said, you are amazing. And you have no idea.
Yeah.
People are watching you and you have no idea. And he said to me, you have no idea. Just keep doing that. And just
it is a disservice to the community for you to stop doing what you're doing. And obviously within the bounds of responsibility of your age and your health coming first, but what you're doing and what you're teaching and the stuff you're creating and educating, it is a disservice to the community and to society for people like you to stop, to throw in the towel, to say, that's it, I'm retired.
Exactly.
That is, I think that is a sin. I think that is terrible. And I think that's why it's important for people like us to just keep going.
Amen.
There are so many people around us that are watching and absorbing what you're doing, and it's changing their lives without you even knowing it.
Yeah.
That's what's so rewarding about this particular field and this industry. I like that it helps people.
Yeah.
That's why it's like being a doctor. You are directly helping people.
Yeah. So that's like being a doctor. My mom should hear that.
Yeah.
How many times people say to me, I'm 30 and I cannot move anymore. I think I shouldn't do, what do you think? Do you think it's too late for me to start martial art? Because I'm 30 and I'm useless at this point. I feel my body is falling apart already. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's not about your age. It doesn't matter.
No.
Amen. Yeah. Start slowly, start with a little bit and just create good habit. Do it regularly and you're going to see that your structure, your body will start responding. You will feel better and you feel it's about putting a foot after another. So don't try to be I don't know, from one day or from 1 minute to the other. You go slowly, build slowly. You see what I mean? You don't try to be
small, consistent disciplines.
Like really slowly, really small, but just consistently. That's all.
And it's like Jordan Peterson says, start by cleaning your room. Start by cleaning your room, taking care of yourself.
Yeah, I always say healthy habit. It's the small thing, like the really small thing. Like you say, clean your room, get up in the morning, make your bed first, make sure that it's nice, it's neat, check out your room, and it start there, right? Little thing.
Yeah.
Do 100 push-ups.
Just do 100 push-ups every day. You're going to be fine. You don't need steroids. It's to an earlier point that you made about how oftentimes people say their motivation fails. I don't particularly buy into the principle of motivation. I like the idea of discipline a lot more. I think that word carries a lot more weight to it. I think when people replace motivation with discipline, because there is and I'm sure it's the same for you, there's this big misconception out there about people like us who are, we've fashioned our lives around fitness. There's a misconception that every workout must be so easy for you. You probably just go in there and just do it. It's never hard. And I tell them, and I say this a lot when this question comes up. I'm like, bro, most of my workouts suck in the beginning. It's like, it's hard for me to get going sometimes. Like if it's the end of the day, if I've had a long day at work and I'm like, well, I gotta do this workout. I gotta get this in. That first 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes hard to get the engine going, but I still do it because I know I have to do it. I
I'll
owe
even go
that.
further and say that if it didn't suck, I wouldn't want to do it. I want to be challenged. I want to, I want to be challenged. I want to feel like I achieved something, that I've done something.
Yeah.
So, like, but again, I agree with you. Discipline is key because we don't always want to do it. Sometimes I don't want to wake up in the morning. Right, I want to sleep a bit more. I want to be cozy. I want to, like take my time. I want to chill. Right.
Yeah.
But I promised that I was gonna do something, so I'm gonna.
So I'm going to get up.
And go and do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, discipline.
That's amazing. Where can people find you if they want to? Obviously, you're saying a lot of amazing stuff. Where can people absorb this on Instagram?
Well, I think that on my Instagram,
Instagram.
Alain Ngalani, yes, I think on my Instagram, I stay a lot and I just live my life. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's where we'll send. I want to give a shout out. First off, you brought in some incredible stuff from your sponsors. What is the name of your sponsorship?
Gym Aesthetic. I think I just want to say that it's all about being healthy. It's all about, for me, I'm in this for the long run, and I think that you have to cherish and take care of yourself, and being healthy, being having less injury or protecting yourself is paramount to me, right? So you want to be injury free so that you can be able to do what you want to do daily. So I think everyone should try and find what works for them. What works for me is to protect my joint. I'm very lucky to be able to work with a company like Gym Aesthetic that provide me with the tools that I need. So they have this compression that are amazing because they're not heavy. They're very transparent. They're very light. So
Man,
I have
open.
them,
Yeah.
Like I'm wearing them right now, and I feel like, and I don't feel like it's bothering me, right? So I'm going out throughout my day, and I'm wearing compression. It's keeping my body really warm, keeping my ligament and my muscle really warm, and keeping them together, right? Keeping them tight. So it keeps me away from trouble.
Oh, okay. Very nice. I like this. You know what? It's a lot. And that's what I was going to ask you. Are these powerlifting reps? They're not. They're much thinner.
They're much thinner, and that's because you don't want them to carry all the sweat and carry all the water.
Yeah.
So they're very breathable. They're very light, so they're very comfortable.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do things, but being comfortable while doing it. So I'm lifting with that, and I'm doing martial art with that. I'm doing my training. I'm doing walking. I'm doing hiking. I'm doing my flexibility walks and whatever with them.
Nice.
So they're very light. So, but I just say, there's a lot of equipment out here. You have to look for something that works for you. For me, this worked for me because it's very light. It's very comfortable.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm not wearing them. Like I'm wearing them now, but I feel like
not there.
I didn't think about them until now.
Yeah.
So that's what I like. That's how I like it.
Is this their specialty product? These compression sleeves? Do they
Yes,
make
no,
other
no, no,
things
they
for
do-
elbows?
they do- yes.
Yeah.
Elbow, shin, knee, forearm, and all your joint protected. And
Outstanding.
that's very important for me. But I'm always wearing a gym A, whether it's a casual or training.
Oh, okay.
You have to train. I'm spending half of my day training, right? So most of the time I have to be. I'm always training, so I need to make sure that I have, the clothing necessary. What you wear is important, right? Because you have to be comfortable during your training. So
Absolutely.
look for something that works for you. So what worked for me?
Perfect.
This is it.
Gym Aesthetic.
Yeah, Gym
and you can find it at gymaesthetic.com. Is that what it is? Aesthetics.
Yeah,
Aesthetics with an S at the end.
Yeah.
us.gymaesthetics.com. That's where you guys can find this. Awesome, brother.
Cheers, man. Cheers.
Yeah.
And also, we're throwing, during our training, we're throwing a challenge, and I'm asking all the fans who are listening to us, to join the challenge and be among the winner of, what Gym Aesthetic is bringing you. They can come and pick it up here at, Street Vision Athletic. Right?
Perfect. Yeah.
Let's do it.
We'll do the challenge. Yeah. We'll end the podcast and we'll talk about it in the gym.
That's it.
Sweet. All right, buddy. We'll cut it there.